Here's what on-chain messages reveal about the $200 million Euler Finance hack. On Monday, March 13th, the year's largest crypto hack so far occurred. Almost $200 million was stolen from decentralized lending protocol Euler Finance. On-chain messages show how negotiations with the hacker took place. The attack was devastating to the Ethereum-based platform, whose total value locked dropped by over 95%, as well as other DeFi projects which had funds tied up in Euler, such as Angle and Balancer. Over the past few days, the hacker has returned the majority of stolen assets, communicating in part via transaction input data, which is publicly visible on blockchain explorers such as Etherscan. The hacker's intention to return the funds was not always being clear, however. Immediately following the hack, blockchain security researchers linked the attacker's address to a previous exploit on Binance's Build and Build chain, and 100 Ether, worth $170,000 at the time, was deposited into crypto mixer Tornado Cash. A few hours later, the Euler team reached out to the hacker's address with the following message, quote, "We understand that you are responsible for this morning's attack on the Euler platform," they wrote. Quote, "We are writing to see whether you would be open to speaking with us about any potential next steps," end quote. After 48 hours with no response, and a warning which implied a 10% bounty offer, the team announced a $1 million public reward for information leading to the return of funds. Prospects of this being a white hat hacker willing to return the funds were looking bleak. Another 1,000 Ether was sent to Tornado Cash via an intermediary address, with a further 2,500 Ether queued up and still sitting in the account. Perhaps most worryingly, 100 Ether was sent to North Korean state-sponsored hackers, hinting at a possible association with the notorious Lazarus Group, responsible for last year's $600 million Ronin Bridge hack. There was some encouraging news though. After being contacted by the victim, the hacker reimbursed them with 100 Ether. The excess Ether was then sent on to the Euler team. It also became clear that the hacker was not a friend of the Ronin exploiter when they responded with what appeared to be a phishing message, containing a link to a compromised message decryption app. The Euler team quickly sent a message to warn the hacker, knowing that if the Lazarus Group got hold of the funds, they wouldn't be seeing a penny. Quote, "Do not use the suggested decryption tool," they said. Quote, "It has an old version of Elliptic, which is a vulnerability," end quote. Euler hacker returned most of stolen funds. Eventually, 5 days after the initial attack, the hacker began to return some of the stolen funds, starting with 3,000 Ether, worth approximately $5.3 million at the time. Euler's response reiterated the offer to return 90% of the stolen assets. Quote, "Thank you for returning a portion of the assets. The original offer still stands if you would like to continue by returning the funds. The reward for information will be removed immediately and all of our investigations will be dropped," end quote, the team promised. 2 days later, the first confirmation came of the hacker's intentions to return the funds. Quote, "We want to make this easy on all those affected. No intention of keeping what is not ours. Setting up secure communication. Let us come to an agreement," end quote. An email address was sent to the Euler team in order to continue contact in private. And then on March 25th, 51,000 Ether, $89 million was returned. The remaining DAI and Ether were spread out over a number of addresses, but as of yesterday the majority is being returned to Euler. The hacker is still in control of substantial quantities of stolen tokens. The latest messages hint at troubles with off-chain communication, but assure their intentions are still to return what remains. Quote, "The rest of the money will be returned ASAP. I only look after my safety, and that is the reason for the delay. I'm sorry for any misunderstanding. Please read my next message," end quote. However, the hacker came across as increasingly desperate. Quote, "Jacob here. I don't think what I say will help me in any way, but I still want to say it. I fucked up. I didn't want to, but I messed with others' money, others' jobs, others' lives. I really fucked up. I'm sorry. I didn't mean all that. I really didn't fucking mean all that. Forgive me," end quote. Perhaps they are simply playing for time, or maybe the attacker's veil of anonymity has slipped since moving their communications to email. On-chain messages are a way for users to interact without revealing anything more than their public key. A core technique used by crypto investigators involves linking blockchain addresses to screen names, exchange accounts, email addresses, and social media, such as is the case of Abraham Eisenberg, who exploited Mango markets in October and was arrested in December. However, on-chain messages can also be a useful tool. In an industry well known for scams and phishing, white hat hackers can use the secure and transparent messages when organising a rescue of hacked funds, such as in the case of 2021's Poly Network hacker, who was subsequently offered the role of Chief Security Advisor and awarded a $500,000 bounty by the affected protocol. For more informed news, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Google News, or subscribe to our YouTube channel.